Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
$14.90 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. Time for another Triple Lutz Report. This is episode number 162. It is Saturday, February 18th, 2012. Remarkable thing happened this week. Judge Andrew Napolitano, who hosted Freedom Watch, interestingly named show, on Fox News, was fired. And while some might say that he looks like a grown-up version of Eddie Munster, there was something engaging about the man. There was something honest. There was something authentic. There was something real about him. He spoke his mind, whatever was on it, like I would hope a fellow New Yorker would always do. But he went too far. He did a 5-minute rant, basically calling out the entire political establishment, calling out the parties, and calling out the powers that be. And his reward for this? Fired, terminated with extreme prejudice. What he said simply was, there's no difference between the parties. All the parties care about is power. All the members of the parties care about, certainly the elected officials, is their own self-aggrandizement, their lust for power, and their desire to control what the rest of us think. He was saying that whether it's Mitt Romney, I can't tell them apart now, or Barack Obama, doesn't matter, because the same policies are going to be continued. The same failed war on drugs that does nothing other than increase police department budgets, decrease your freedom, cut back your constitutional rights. The only reason it exists is to increase the power of the government over you. This is some of the things that he said. He talked about the Reagan Revolution. His opinion, it wasn't really a revolution at all. Government spending continued to increase. He talked about Bill Clinton claiming that the era of big government was over, when in fact it was barely just getting started. He talked about the meaningless wars that the country enters into, and that we're probably going to be getting into more wars, and that the welfare warfare state is inherently corrupt and costs us so much beyond financial, beyond the psychic wounds of warfare. And that's not to say that some wars aren't justified, but it would be nice to hear the truth about why we're getting into a war, the actual truth of why we're committing American troops and American assets to a war. What's the real reason? Is it oil? Is it gold? Is it the demise of the petrodollar? Tell us. Okay? We have a government that lies to us, and this is what Judge Napolitano stated on primetime television, and this is what got him fired. He went on to make a number of comparisons. He said the purpose of the two-party system is not to enhance your choice. The purpose of the two-party system is to restrict your choices. And left plays against right, right plays against left, to make you think that you actually have a choice when you don't. Look, Republicans run on a platform of small government, limited government, cutting taxes, cutting spending. What do they do when they get in? The exact opposite. They increase the size of government, they increase taxes, they decrease your freedom. At least the Democrats are more honest. They're in favor of big government. They haven't seen a problem that they don't believe that big government can solve, and they're all too happy to start a new program, throw money at a problem that's usually a problem the government caused, and Even they, though, they're supposed to be helping the common man, supposed to be helping the middle class. They run from their ideology. They run from their campaign promises the moment they get into office. And I'm attaching a link to this YouTube video that got Judge Napolitano fired. You need to see it, because in 5 minutes, he destroys the entire mythology of American democracy, of two-party rule, and he explains that whether you like Ron Paul or not, Ron Paul is authentic. He speaks from the heart. He's been saying the same message since 1980. You can go look at the YouTube videos and see he has been remarkably consistent and coming out against the Federal Reserve, coming out against ever larger encroaching Leviathan government. Those have been the hallmarks of Ron Paul. And effectively, Judge Napolitano, a.k.a. grown-up Eddie Munster, and that's an endearing thing. I like the judge. I mean, like I say, he's a fellow New Yorker, and he's an in-your-face kind of guy. Rest in peace, Judge Napolitano. There's a price to be paid for telling people the truth. And while yours perhaps is not the ultimate price, I have a feeling that this is the beginning of many problems that you're going to face, because you have thrown sand in the eye of the government, and you're not some blogger sitting in his studio recording a podcast in Connecticut. You are a major media personality, and the system is going to turn itself on you and do everything possible that they can do in their power, legally or illegally, to destroy you. There's no question that this is going to happen. As sure as night follows day, as sure as God made little green apples, they're going after you, Judge. So I hope you're ready. I hope you've got a bolt hole to go to. Hope you've planned to maybe spend time overseas in a freer locale, because you're going to need it. We're facing something here unprecedented. This system is the antithesis of freedom. As many parts of the world have moved more and more towards freeing and empowering their population, the United States, the birthplace of freedom for the world, the hope of the world, the place where the streets were once paved with gold, is going closer and closer to totalitarianism. And the quick, expeditious termination of Judge Napolitano is just one further example of why you need to start thinking differently than you ever have before. Ron Paul has flaws. I don't necessarily agree that the Muslim world hates us because we've been blowing the place up since I can remember, since World War I. I'm sure that's a fact. The antipathy between the Christian and Muslim cultures goes back to the Crusades. It goes back to the dark/Middle Ages. It's been going on a long time, and what we're seeing now is merely a continuation of that. But that really isn't the important thing. The important thing here is that Judge Napolitano made an extremely valuable contribution to the public dialogue. He unveiled the power structure that rules this country and has turned you into a debt tax slave. For that, he's to be commended. We all need to gather around this man, because the full force, the full fury of the ruling elite is about to come down on his head, on his family. They will stop at nothing to destroy him. Just remember, you heard it here. This is Kerry Lutz, then another Triple Lutz report. Signing off. By the way, don't forget, go to kerrylutz.com, become a subscriber, get the weekly newsletter, get your free Financial Survival Toolkit.